Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your 2022 Oakland mayoral candidate. Well, May is Mental Health Month, and so along with a lot of different things that are happening in the month of May, specifically Cinco de Mayo, AAPI History Month, and also Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I bring this up because so much is built around mental health, and mental health has gone back a long ways, but now by our politicians kicking the rock down the road or kicking the can down the road, we've come to this crisis here in America. And it started really bad in the 80s during the Reagan administration when he removed, they were called sanitariums back then. As I remember, on the family drives to the South Bay, we would see some of these sanitariums for the mentally ill. Those are not what I'm endorsing, nor am I saying we need to bring back, but we do need to bring back a type of system that assists the folks that are having difficulties making the right decisions in terms of life and lifestyle. And so a lot of people are saying, well, what's the big deal about it? Just get them mental health, the help that they need. Well, here's the challenge that a lot of folks don't talk about. The amount of mental health crises going on a daily basis in America far exceeds the amount of psychologists and psychiatrists that are available and licensed to do mental health care work in America. And then another thing that I've also experienced myself is the over-medicating of those with mental disabilities, rather than actually trying to find out what is truly wrong and at the root of the cause. They throw pills at us, and I say this because the Veterans Administration is really guilty of this. I've seen it so much with a lot of veterans that I've encountered, and they all say that they show me a cocktail of medications and pills that are required sometimes twice a day, 3 times a day. And the amount of pills is staggering as to what some of these folks were getting. And so also then there's environment. Environment affects the way one develops, and also memories. And we call the bad ones PTSD. And I myself, I've had PTSD. I was clinically diagnosed with PTSD a long time ago. When I worked for our government in counterterrorism, I was undergoing mental evaluation on a regular basis because of the dangerous nature of the work that I was doing at the time, plus the assignments that we were doing weren't always pretty. And so we called them De-Briefings, but in reality, we were really checking in with a psychologist, psychiatrist, to make sure that we were still field operational ready for the next assignment once everything wrapped up. And so when I first came out here, I was diagnosed with severe major depression. And so what Social Security, the psychiatrist that I was seeing, that I was assigned to, That doctor gave me a lot of medications. Side effects of those medications was that I couldn't remember what happened the past hour. And so that was very dangerous. Living out on the street here makes it even more dangerous because you don't remember what happens. And if something happens to you, your memory is quickly erased because of the medication that you're taking. And so medications don't work here when you're living out on the street. So that's one of the things that we have to look at. Just recently, Governor Gavin Newsom was talking about his care courts. I am fully in agreement with care court. We all know them as competency hearings, and these go on for family law, for the folks that are mentally challenged, and then also for seniors and the purpose of the first part of the court is to find out if they are cognitively able to make good decisions and decisions for themselves. And once some questions are asked by the judge, the person responds with whatever their answers are, whatever they may be. And also they have legal representation. And so the same thing with the CARES court, they would have legal representation. So my only argument was in the name that Governor Gavin Newsom used, care court, which we already know it's already in family court. So there's really not any real big thing other than we'll need to put more judges in place to have these competency hearings. And like I said, the competency hearings, first thing is to determine whether the person is able to make good, rational decisions for themselves, and it's going to cover a lot of different areas, but typical of their everyday comings and goings. So that's an element there. Then once that part is determined, whether they are competent to make decisions for themselves or insufficiently competent, then the next step is assigning a conservator. The conservator in this case can be a family member, a close friend that is court approved, and the other option is a court appointee, county court appointee, and they oversee the health care, finances, and lifestyle of the individual going forward. And so we've seen this in the media, and the most famous one is Britney Spears, which has lasted for over a decade, and it just ended recently. So the same thing with what I'm endorsing and what I'm saying is acceptable, because it's treated everybody fairly, regardless of your income or lack thereof. It's based solely upon the person's mental capacity, and then a conservator is assigned so that they make the decisions for the finances, the housing, the feeding and care, and everything around revolving that individual until if they're able to get well and make these decisions on their own, and then ask for, like in the case of Britney Spears, ask for the conservatorship to end. And then they would go through a process to end that conservatorship. And if they're successful, like Britney Spears was recently, then they are free to go restart their life, and everything is back under their control and no longer under a conservatorship. So the same thing applies to this situation. Mental health has been a problem here throughout the United States for a number of years, and we need to fix that. And like I said, back in the Reagan years, those institutions that were removed, while they saved a lot of tax dollars and stabilized Reaganomics, it did a lot of harm to a lot of folks here. And so by creating new opportunities for our mentally challenged, I take a housing first priority. We get them into housing because the first thing that we have to do, if those that are coming off the streets and homelessness, they're traumatized, we need to have them decompress and not feel so fearful, so anxious that they can't move on to the next step. And that trauma is a lot of times what has triggered their drug use. And so once we're able to change the situation, change the environment where it's safe and they feel safe, then they can decompress, and then we can actually start seeing what services are needed. And that sometimes may take a little time, and so that's why I endorse the tiny home villages here throughout Oakland, and they're stable. The tiny homes that I endorse have a mini kitchen and a bathroom with the operating toilet, shower, hot and cold running water, and full electrical service, which are powered by solar. So these are our programs to help get folks back into society, ease them back into society, because they've been traumatized for so long by factors many times that are beyond their control. So thanks for joining me today. This was just part one of many here coming this month. I'm going to be talking about mental health in depth, but this is part one. Join me for part two, which will be coming out shortly. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.